Hi, this is hithertokt. For my education PD this summer, I thought I'd share a few things that I have learned over the years about formatting with Microsoft Word. I actually credit most of the things I know to a class I took my freshman year of high school. It was a keyboarding class, and we learned how to type, which is invaluable. But we also learned a lot of things about how to use the tabs and margins and general formatting things that I think have kind of stuck with me over the years. And they make my life easier, a lot easier. They make my worksheets look a little bit better and more put together. So I just thought I'd share a few of those things with you guys today. When you approach this, I think there's four things that you should kind of keep in mind at all times with anything computer related personally. I feel patience is key, big time. A lot of times you get frustrated because something's not going the way that you want it to go, and it just takes a little tweaking, takes a little bit of time, and that kind of goes into 2 and 3. If you can picture it, you can make it happen. And the next one, I say this with love. Uh, if it's not working out the way you want it to, chances are that you're doing something wrong. Um, a lot of times when I get stuck, I don't know how to work something, I'll go to YouTube, I'll go to Google, and I'll just type exactly what I'm trying to do and why isn't this working. And usually I'll be able to find something that fixes it. Number 4, never create a template when Word has already created one for you. I'll get into that a little bit more later on. But there are so many things that Word has done for you that even things that I've shared with you guys on Tumblr before. There's looks really fancy, but I promise you I've only changed like a few words here and there, and the formatting's already done for me. So that's what we're going to go over today. A habit I always do whenever I open up a Word document is that I always make this ruler appear. It typically doesn't come up unless you have it set like that on your computer. If you don't know how to find it, you go up to the View tab, click down, and it's right there. It says ruler. The reason why I use this is because it's like built in, like easy way to adjust your margins, because now you can see them. If you click on this area right here where it's in the blue color, just double click on it, your margins show up and you can adjust them right away. And that's particularly helpful. This blue tab right here, you can change things like on a case-by-case basis. I just posted earlier today, a girl with a lesson plan and I are going back and forth talking about the Odyssey. So I just posted some of that text I did today because I think it's helpful, some of these things, to see a huge chunk of text. But say I want to change a tab or margin lines for it, I would just drag that over and that changes the whole thing. Drag it over there. If you wanted to do it for everything, just to highlight everything, or you could do it for a blank document without having highlighted it and set your margins that way. But easy way to change your margins. Next thing I wanted to talk about was how to add a picture to your document. I feel like sometimes like that's the thing that gets tricky the most, just because you put a picture in and then it just like messes up your text entirely and it just gets really frustrating really fast. So what I'm going to insert, if you go to the Insert tab, down to Picture, from File, I'm going to include a picture of my icon from Tumblr. Oh, that showed up really big. Make this smaller. There we go. And see, it's already kind of messing with my text a little bit because it's like right here in the middle. Like I would like to be able to move it around, but it's still like in the middle of text, and that gets frustrating. There's several different ways that you could fix this. The easiest way to always remember, because you might not always have those windows show up on the side, if you right click on an image and go down, there's always an option that says Format Picture. And if you format that picture, options will come up about layout and how you want that to show up. So you've got those right there. You could also, if you right click, sometimes you see the text wrapping. That's the same exact thing. Right now it shows that it's in line with text. If you have this formatting window over in the side, you'll see wrapping here again, where you have the different options. So right now it's in line with text. You could click on that. The way to make it so you can move it around freely on the page is to select where it's tight with the words. So you can move that around anywhere, kind of get around in the way. Sometimes you might want to do something where, ooh, what did I do? Sometimes you might do something where you want it to be in front of the text. You don't want it to kind of move the words around, so you could do that. Maybe you want it to be square with the text again, so you can move it around that way. But I feel like that's probably one of the bigger frustrations of how to move a picture around here. The next thing I want to show you guys is how to use a text box. Maybe I feel like this quote right here, I'd like to offset it a little bit, meaning I want to put it in a box in and of itself. If you look up where it says insert at the top, there's an option that says text box. Now I've already highlighted this, so as soon as I click text box, that's going to put it in its own little segment like that. You can move this around now like you can move around an image. It's the same type of settings in terms of wrappings that we talked about before. Right now it says square. You could have it be tight. You could have it be in front of the text. So now that starts looking a little funny. When I make text boxes, and normally it's because I'm trying to highlight some sort of information. So I would right click and I would go to Format Text Box. When you format the text box, one, like I said, I'm trying to highlight information, so I like to actually have a box around it. And that's what this is. You can kind of set your style. You can change the color of the line. I'll make this red because who doesn't like red? Now, because this is a text, I can put that box around it, but you still can't see the words because there's something behind it. So if you right click, go back, format text box, this fill, if you make it white, boom. Not that you would necessarily want to have all your words coming up, but I feel like that's just good information to know because who knows when something like that might become useful. So I think we can pretty much all agree that having part of your text covering your other text is not very helpful. So I don't really want it to be in front of the text. I'm going to have it be square so that there's nothing that it's covering up, but I can still move that text around a little bit if I want to. One tip I have for you that doesn't really have anything to do with formatting a worksheet in particular, especially not if it's something that you're printing out and handing out to your students, but if it's something that you're uploading to a website online for your class, and you have documents that you have, like, so some of the pages in the document will be like this, they'll be portrait, but sometimes you want to change it so that maybe the second page on your document is landscape. I don't know about you, but I like having things in one document all in the same place because I find that when you're transmitting information over the internet, it's best to have it as concise and easy to understand for students as possible. It saves you a hassle of a few emails later on asking what the different documents are. So say I'm at the end of this and I want to go on to my next page, and I want the next page, so I'm going to put a table in there and I want it to be landscape. So I go up to the top here where it says insert and break, and you could do it one of two ways. You could do section break next page, or you could just do page break in general. I'm going to do section break next page. Now that you've hit the break thing, you can change thing. That's a very good word for me to use. Now that you have hit the break, you can go up to where it says file. On my Mac, this is what it looks like. I don't know what it looks like on PCs, but you're going to want to go to the option where you can do a page setup, where you can change the orientation. If you click now on the landscape button and hit OK, you can see that this first document that we created, or the first page we were working on, that is still portrait, but the second page is now landscape, which, like I said, comes in handy when you're trying to upload one single document. So making a table can be frustrating, but it can also be very easy. If you click on the table button, I'm going to show you guys how to make a calendar. 7, I don't know, we'll go 5. This is what shows up when you add in a table. I don't know about you, but I would imagine, because that's where your date boxes are going to go, you're going to want those to be a little bit bigger. Now this is a little bit trial and error because I don't have measurements in my head, but if I want them all to be the same size, I would right click and I go down to table properties. Table properties, this column that's selected right now where it says rows, you can specify the height. You can specify how big you want those boxes to be. I'll just guesstimate at 1 inch right now. Yeah, we can obviously go a little bit bigger. Let's add in a little row. Let's try one more time. 1.5. Nope, too big. Third time's the charm. 1.3. Magic. Done. All right. So I want that. Whoop. I'm dumb. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know you all say Wednesday still. Friday and Saturday. So feel like a lot of times you might hit the enter button to make a box bigger rather than messing with the margins. Let me tell you why not to do that. I like uniformity. I like things to be organized and neat. So I always like when I'm making a calendar to make the days of the week kind of centralized. I like to make the days of the week in the center of the box. That's the easy way to say it. So you go to cell alignment, and I would say align and center. But now this one box that I've hit enter in, it makes that one word not match the other ones, which is really frustrating. But if you go to that box and hit delete, it makes that box not big anymore, so those words aren't floating around. So you would take your mouse and drag that box a little bit down, and that's how they all get the same. Because I feel like I've encountered before where I've hit that enter button. I'm just like, well, how do I fix it? That's the way to fix it. This is probably one of the more important things because me personally, as a teacher, and I feel like every single one of you out there, the thing that we always want more of is time. So why reinvent the wheel and do something that somebody else has already done for you? Which brings me back to number 4 of the things to remember. Don't create a template when Word has already created one for you. If you go up to the top where it says File, at least on the Word that I have, there's something called a project gallery. And if you click on that, you will see a whole bunch of different types of documents that they have created for you. And I mean, me personally, like I use things, and I'll show you guys in a minute what I used the other day when I posted my new, what's the word? um, syllabus. When I posted my syllabus, I used a template that was for like a menu for a restaurant. So don't feel like you have to like categorize like, oh, I'm looking for a flyer, so I need to use a flyer template. Like be creative, think outside the box. They have templates for calendars, as you can see, flyers, like I said before, marketing stuff. You got catalogs, got menus, proposals, signs, who even knows? But there's a lot of stuff that's already done for you, so that's something that you should definitely consider. A lot of the things that I do my formatting on, so if I open a completely new document, bring this back in the center, if you go to View and see how it says Print Layout, this is the typical layout that things are normally on. Um, I use Publishing Layout. So this is not Microsoft Word Publisher. It's just using Publishing Layout on Microsoft Word, if that makes sense. And it gives you a completely different setup. It's actually more similar to Publisher than the typical Word, I would say. And this blank document, you can make a lot of different edits there. A lot of the stuff that we were talking about earlier really comes into play here because you're dealing with text box. You know, this is a text box. You can deal with adding in shapes. Hold on here. You know, I mean, this is a whole blank canvas in a way that I think is different than what we're typically used to. Once you have a blank document open, another place where you can look for templates through the publishing view is where it says publication templates right here. And if you click on that, you see a lot of different options. You got newsletters, brochures, flyers, invitations, programs, business cards, postcards, catalogs, awards, menus, posters, signs, and CD labels, pretty much anything you could want. And you will probably find do, do, do. This template to look awfully familiar. If you noted, I don't know, I guess it was last week, week before, when I put up a fancy schmancy looking syllabus for next year, I didn't do most of the work. I mean, it was really just replacing. So if you use a template like this, you can just double click on the words and it makes it go away, and you can type in this is a syllabus, you know, and suddenly it's not a menu anymore, it becomes a syllabus. You can replace pictures by clicking on them and right click and then just change the picture, and it automatically puts something in there for you. Let's see, what pictures do I have here? Homer. Seems like something I would have a picture for. There's a map. You know, and it just puts it right in there for you. Don't even have to change anything. So I mean, take a look around, see what you can find on these things, because a lot of times it saves you a lot of time, a lot of effort if you just open up one of the templates that they've already done, and that's something that you can just work with rather than having to start from scratch. Some of you might remember during my Shakespeare unit, I typically hand out bookmarks to my students that have all the important deadlines that we are going to be meeting throughout the unit, when they need to have things read. And I give those dates to them on a bookmark that they can keep in their textbook at home. So as they're reading Romeo and Juliet, they have something right there that they know what they're aiming for. Publisher is what I use to create that. So I'm just kind of gonna walk you through it.
Let them have their time, sit back and let them shine. Let them rise and rise, cause one day they're gonna fall. Let them soak in the sun, sit back and let them have their fun. Let them spill their guts, cause one day they're gonna slip on them. Well, I could be angry, but you're not worth a fight. And besides, I'm moving on. I've counted to 10 and I'm feeling alright. And besides, I'm moving on. Let them play their songs, let them say what's right and wrong. Let them do their thing, cause it'll never be you and me. We got our own style, we got a way of living life. If they can't get down, well, we don't need them around. Well, I could be angry, but you're not worth a fight. And besides, I'm moving on. I counted to 10 and I'm feeling alright. And besides, I'm moving. Yes, I'm moving. Besides, I'm moving on.
If you've seen my post go around from the planner I made for myself, Publisher is also what I use to create that. Looks like this, because July and nope, just July is a one-page document, but the rest of them, because it's a planner that opens, the calendar is on 2 pages like this. So to make that calendar, I would insert a table. It has 4 columns per page with 6 rows. This, I honestly, guys, like it's a little tedious. Like it takes a lot of time and patience to get the what do you call it, like the measurements right. Like for me personally, like I want everything to be even. I want it to be like, I want it to look nice. I want it to take a while. So like when I was making my planner, it probably took me about like 2 days working for several hours a day to make it exactly perfect. That doesn't mean it has to take that long for you. It's just that that's how long it took for me. So up at the top here is where this was Sunday, this was Monday, and this was Tuesday. What we learned before about centering it, right click, cell alignment in the center, and then these columns, table properties, rows, and like I said before, like it's just trial and error, making sure that everything's going to fit in there. obviously it's more than an inch. The nice thing about having this formatting palette on the side is that sometimes you don't have to do all those right-clicking, ending up somewhere, but they'll have an option right there in front of you. Sometimes I forget, which is why I didn't say I was going to do that, because I didn't realize until it was right in front of me that it was right there. So it looks like it's about even. Now, how this is set up, like this is where I put, let's see, this is where I put the month. And this, it's not a day, like it's obviously not a day of the week. So in order for me not to get confused about like when I'm filling out my calendar, I did something where I merged those cells together. If you right click, there's an option that says merge cells. And if you do that, it erases the lines there. So it's really just one column. You can jot down notes in there. That's what I use mine for. If I'm trying to remember something I need to do that month, I just jot it in that column. Let's see, July 1st was a Tuesday? Tuesday? Yeah, I think it was a Tuesday this month. And I would just go through and I put all the dates in there. Something to keep in mind, if you look over on this formatting palette on the right, there is an option that says table. I mean, it takes a little bit of trial and error, but I mean, like, there are things on here that you can make it easier. Like, say, for example, in the month of July, because I don't have dates on Sunday and Monday, that I want to create more space for taking notes and I want to erase this line in between, I would just highlight that line and that line can go away. Say it's next year and the first is on a Wednesday and I don't want that line either, I can take it away. I can also draw lines back in. That's what this little symbol is right here, right next to it. And just doesn't have to be perfectly lined up like the computer like figures it out for you. You just draw a line there and I'll draw that line back. So I don't know if you can tell it's a little off. Sometimes when the lines go back in, they're a little off and you have to play with them a little bit to get them lined back up. But in a nutshell, that's how I made my calendar pages for my planner. That's all I really have for you guys today. I hope that this was helpful. I'm not really sure what people know and what they don't, but these are just tricks that I kind of use pretty much on a daily basis when I'm using Word a lot, and I know that they help me out sometimes when I'm trying to get things to look nice. If there's anything that maybe I didn't explain clearly or anything that I left out that you're more curious about, or maybe something I did that you'd like to know a little bit more in depth, please write it down, make a note to yourself. I will gladly answer it at another time. Thanks so much.